welcome to the Burning Questions. Great to be back. A little sabbatical dealing with some flu-like symptoms. People may call it the cron. Not 100% sure. Well, there's a positive test, so it was a cron. Anyway, let's move forward. Whether you're celebrating a win or shoveling in the stables, you want your staff to look their very best. Doesn't Glenn look good? Now he's got a really quizzical look on his face. That's a highlight of Burning Questions already. We'll get to in a moment, Glenn. And you do that with the uniforms from Hip Pocket Workwear and Safety. They have you covered for clothing, protective equipment, and plenty more. Check out hippocketworkwear.com.au. And I think they might have followed me on Twitter this week, Hip Pocket Workwear. So what a lovely gesture that was. I welcome in Glen Craven. What in God's name were you looking at just then, Glenn?
No, I just had a message come up, so I was just checking that out. I need glasses, so I had to squint to see that one.
You know, if we were in school, I'd say you're going to pass around notes, you should read it out, but I don't know what the message was, so we might just back away from that for a moment. Andy, you're at a different location. You're out in the wild. Why? Where?
I'm in Melton, but yeah, just not where I normally go. Backy Smash. I just had to go to Melton Saturday and buy some stuff, so this is why I'm here.
Have you noticed some cops coming by and checking out the license plate and saying, "What does this bloke park here every Thursday about 1:15?"
Yeah, no. So far so good today.
And Skeeter, you look a picture. You reckon the hairdresser's stuffed up? I think you're looking spectacular today. You're looking ready to roll, and hopefully you're going to find some winners. I'll tell you what, I will be upset with though. We won't go to best bet straight away, but I did message you with my best bet. You've given me a price. So if it turns up $1.30 now, it's on you, okay?
Yeah, but I in my defence, I hadn't fully looked at the race when I gave you that price. I've had a further look now, and I'd like to slightly change my price, but I think it's still the winner.
Yeah, I think it's the winner as well. We'll talk about that later. Question one of the Burning Questions. Just how good is Kiwi import called Vacation Hell? Andy, you might be the one to ask here. How good is she?
Yeah, no, she's a fairly good mare. She's won one of her last 14. So you expect that. No, she's a quality mare. There's no doubt about that. She's won 6 races in her homeland. She hasn't had a lot of starts, but she's probably the best trotting mare in New Zealand before she headed over to my place. She probably put in a few average runs leading up to her last run. Talking to the previous trainer, Kevin Townley, said she was off a little bit and had a bit of a virus. So she's been at my place for a while. I think she just rolled up just after Christmas, before Christmas. So she's been there long enough. She works at a really high level, which you expect. And, you know, she gets in a race that's quite winnable for her, even though she's drawn the back row. So I think she's going to have a pretty good future while she's here, and expect that she's going to win if you know, a lot of races while she's here. So, again, you know, trotting ranks are getting stronger all the time. There's no easy races, but for her to starting off, you know, that race doesn't seem to be a lot of depth in it.
Would she be more than competitive if she was in the Cochran Cup on Saturday night?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think if she was drawn the front row, and she probably would have if I chose to run her in it. Yeah, she'd probably lead, and, you know, she'd definitely be hard to beat.
So if I use the term on Saturday night, stone cold, stinking moral, what would you say to that?
Nothing's a stone cold, stinking moral, especially the second row around Ballarat. It's always a little bit trickier. But again, you know, I'd be disappointed if she doesn't win.
She'll win, won't she, Glenn?
Yeah, no, I think she will, Joe Bond. She's coming into a stable that has a great record of bringing horses over from New Zealand, especially trotters, and producing them first up and then going on to do a good job. So I think Andy and Kate will have a spot on, and she'll be just too good for them. Now,
you did, I just want to make mention of this before we go any further. After one of the feature race meetings at the reputable organisation or venue known as Cranker Centre, you got stuck into me deluxe along with your cousin Jason Lee about my facial hair, and yet you're rocking some sort of number at the moment. So what's the go here?
Yeah, got a bit lazy this week, so I'll have to clean it up for Friday night when I go back to the trots. That's
all right for you, is it? But no worries. Skeeter, thoughts, Vacation Hill, one out in the early quaddies. I mean, it's a nice enough race, but the loophole remains. I discussed with this on Trots Live with Michael Guerin. Turns up here, an 87 Raider has beaten Sunday Sun at two of its last 10 starts in New Zealand.
Yeah, she's got some pretty good form lines over in New Zealand, doesn't she? Sunday Sun, Bolt for Brilliant. She's been racing against the top trotters over in New Zealand. So this looks a really winnable race. I thought for her at $2. I see you've popped her down there on harness.org. So hopefully they
I'd like to change that now, if that's all right. I've wound her into $1.60 or $1.50. Okay.
No, I'll take the 2. But it looks it's a nice field, but she could just be a class above, I think. And obviously we know Andy's record with bringing horses over from New Zealand. So I think she can make it 1 start for 1 win in Oz this weekend.
Knowing what price you've offered me about Hi, my name is Jeff later, I think you should be very careful about the way you go about things at the moment, Skeeter. Question 2 of the Burning Questions is brought to us by the Fresh Connection, who export Australian fresh fruit to more than 35 countries. Headed up by Damien Glengarry, who is the export manager and does a magnificent job. The Fresh Connection specialise in citrus, table grapes, cherries and mangoes. freshconnection.com.au. What's your favourite fruit, Glenn?
I'd have to go for an apple or watermelon.
They're vastly disparate fruits. I think I'll go for a grape or a tangerine. All right, let's go. Second question. This one's for you, Glenn. Is the Cochran market on the money or mistaken? And I reference particularly for you, Kiang Lavana. First up from a break. No, the draw looks awkward on paper, but if you're worth your salt and you have a good shave before Saturday night, I reckon you can roll forward and just about find the front.
Hopefully that'll be the plan to get the front at some stage. But I think the market's pretty good considering that she hasn't raced for a while. But hopefully on that front it's not quite right. But it's a good field. There's plenty of winning chances, but probably the only advantage is we're off the front row and hopefully can get ahead of the 3 main dangers off the back.
How close to the mark is she right now, please, Glenn?
Yes, the mark's pretty happy with her, so I think she'll be pretty close to spot on. She's gone good first up before, and she had a good trial the other night. She got home and hit the line very good.
So if she's not up to the mark, that's down to Marg. That, by the way, Glenn never mentioned anything. He's having no opinion on it. Marg says she's close, though. Andy, what do you think here? They pretty much made the market here. I'm Ready Jet versus Multi Law. Little chance to Majestic Man. And the rest of them are at pretty generous odds. I tend to think it's a little bit more open than that.
Yeah, I thought it would have been about $3.50 the field and not sort of the $2.60, $2.70 the 2 favourites are. I love I'm Ready Jet. She's a great mare, but 2 starts ago she got beat against her own sex and own age group. So, these trot races, they're very difficult to win. It's generally who has the best run in transit generally wins them, and they all have turns winning them. So no one can really dominate. My own horse, I have Horse Will Travel, sees $51, and 2 starts ago he had a victory over Majestic Man and other horses. So just shows you the barrier draws mean everything. So it's a pretty competitive race. The main dangers are all off the back row. When you draws are done the last 4 starts, they're generally the form horses that draw the back row, and the ones that aren't going quite as good, draw better. So Kian Lavana, she's a lovely mare, and again, got a good chance of finding the top, and she'd be hard to beat around Ballarat. But I thought the 2 favourites would drift a little bit and the market would change a little bit, and those ones that are a little bit overs will firm up.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I marked Have Horse Will Travel 26, so they've undercut Andy there just ever so slightly. I'm thinking off the front row, Skeeter. Sundon's Courage can win. Lot of Muscle can win. Kiang Lavana can win. So, I've gone I'm Ready Jet and Maury Law, my top 2 picks. I think it's a much wider race than that market would suggest.
Yeah, I tend to think so as well. I was probably a little bit surprised that I'm Ready Jet is favourite and $2.70 favourite, and Maury Law, obviously, last up into Dominion winner, so he is the class runner or one of them. But in saying that, we don't know where he is at after that, if he had had a bit of time off, so he may need this run as well. So I thought it was probably more open than what the market has got it. I see Kiang Lavana touched $23, which is crazy for a mare of her quality at one point in time. So she's definitely not that anymore. But I think the 2 favourites are probably a little bit too short, and it's a much more open contest than that.
Well, I think we mostly agree, which I love when we're in concurrence here on the Burning Questions. Question 3 of the Burning Questions, BQ, as we like to call it, brought to you by APG, all the acronyms. Experience the excitement of the Ned's APG Melbourne Yearling Sale on Sunday, February 6. I'm going up to Queensland on the weekend. First one. I'm a big dog. 185 quality yearlings, all eligible for APG's $3.25 million race series. Go to apgold.com.au. Third question. Who wins Who wins the start in the feature race in the program, and will Arty lead regardless? We'll start with you this time, Nikkita.
Yeah, look, I've come up with a couple of scenarios, Bon, but I think that
You don't get 8 scenarios here. I mean, unless have you got a graph? Sometimes Andy brings bits of paper where he writes stats. Have you got one of those, or what's the go?
I've got a spreadsheet, but no, I think what will happen, I think Max Delight can get across. Spirit of St. Louis is an interesting one. He went back and had a look at his New Zealand starts, and he has actually shown I think they'll have a crack early and try and hold up, but I just think Max Delight will be able to get across. And then from there, he's probably going to look to hand up. And I think if Arty can be there on the scene quick enough, the slight query is if Spirit of St. Louis can get off the fence and be there to do the retake. But I tend to think that Arty will begin well enough, could find the top. I think they would be happy to take a trail on him on Max Delight. We know he can run up the track a little bit in the straight, so there might be room there for Max to get a run anyway. So I think Arty will find the top, and he's going to be awfully hard to beat.
I've got to tell you, Glenn, I'm more confused after listening to that than I was before. Spirit of St. Louis may or may not lead, could get off the fence. Look, I don't know what's happening anymore. I might need to start this again. Ballarat Pacing Cup. Will Max Delight get across Lochinvar and Spirit of St. Louis at the start, first of all?
Firstly, he'll get across Lochinvar, but I'm not so sure about Spirit of St. Louis. If Jack can time the gate right, he's every chance of being able to hold up, because he's a horse with great tactical speed, and there's every chance that he could hold up. And if that's the case, I think they'd probably try to hold the front and park Arty. So it's a very, very interesting first 200.
You've sort of gone just to a G at the moment here, Glenn. Oh, your head maybe embarrassed about the lack of the raise. We've just sort of lost your facade for a short time. There you are. So you honestly, you reckon Spirit of St. Louis would park Arty?
I think so. I think that'd be the plan. He's been racing well. He'd be trying to make use of Arty being vulnerable, being second up after a hard run after such a long time off. So I think if there is a chance for him to hold the front and hold Arty out, it'll be this week.
And then what is the expensive ego? I'm really sitting parked outside you, Glenn. I really want answers here. I want answers to my questions. They're called burning questions. What does expensive ego do then? Just come with one big run at them late?
That'd be the interesting one. I don't think Dave would want to get into a war if he did come round. So I reckon if Spirit of St. Louis did get the front, there could be a chance to a slow speed and Luke could pop round. But it all just depends on that first 100 metres and how quick Max Delight can accelerate, because as Andy said last week, the gate down here in Victoria is a little bit slower, so it does suit those change-up speed horses.
Jeez, don't we listen to Andy? Don't we just listen to what Andy's got? Beautiful curtains, by the way. Give me the number of your curtain man, please, Glenn, because I'd like to get involved with that. Andy, you're the oracle. We listen to what Andy Gath has to say, so please inform us what's going to happen at the start of the Ballarat Pacing Cup, and will Lochinvar find his way to the front at some point regardless?
Well, I think Max Delight will lead, and if he does lead, there's no doubt he'll hand up to Lochinvar. Just on Lochinvar, I know Peter knows this from me. I didn't think he went that great last week. I thought it was the biggest. I thought he went well, but I thought he's a long way away from what he can produce, and just a little bit concerned that he's had 2 trials. He's trained on the Shepparton track, so he can get plenty of work into him. I'm just a little bit concerned that he's still a long way off from where he should be, and I'm happy to bet around him this week, and I'm happy to be wrong. He's such a great horse and he's a champion. He shouldn't be put on champions, but I'm just a little bit concerned of where he's at the moment. And I like to see, a huge improvement this week going forward, that, he's going to get back to his best this preparation, but a few concerns there for me at Shepparton.
I'm gobsmacked. This is Andy Gath at his absolute best. One night only, kids. They broke the track record, and he took off. Did he take off in the 27-second first quarter of the final mile, or was it a little bit later? But regardless, tell us what the knock is.
Well, it was in a straight line when he wasn't wide around the bend. He got to death a lap to go. The quick lead time. It was the slowest third quarter all night out of all the races. I thought he was pretty plain for his high standards. I didn't like his last 100 metres. It's just my opinion, and this is why I'm having it, because it's my opinion.
Well, let's be clear. Yours is the most respected opinion. That's why I continue to drill you. So if you're going to bet around him, who are the ones that can beat him?
Expensive Ego or Spirit of St. Louis.
Right. What it's worth, FWIW as the kids say. I think Max Delight will get across and hand up to Lochinvar, and from there, I don't think he can get beaten. Got a little query about. I'll ask both of you, Glenn and Andy, quickly. Horses who have been off the scene for that long, Glenn, a year. He's a champion. We know that. Champions different. They behave differently, and they can get through things that others can't. But I still thought it was a pretty brutal run. Like, how do even very horses come through that when they've had 12 months off, even if they have got, residual fitness that's been built up from having been worked up for a long period of time?
Yeah, well, when you're racing in this grade of horses, you got to be 100%. So if he's taken any harm out of that run last week, or it's going to go against him quite quickly. But as you say, he's a champion, and champions get through hard runs and back up. But only a week between runs is not going to give Dave very long to turn him around. So he'd hope he's improved on fitness, but it's always a query that it's knocked a little bit of stuff out of him.
Andy, same question.
Yeah, no, I'm same with Glenn here. I see David's come out and said he, was a bit flat for a couple of days, but he seems well now. So, it's not an ideal preparation. I think he probably would have ideally liked to miss the Ballarat Cup and go in the KC Classic and then the Hunter Cup. But I, probably a little bit concerned fitness-wise that he needs to get a few more runs into him. So, you don't know until you put him in the situation. He might get a really soft lead and a soft first lap. So, they'll work in his favour Saturday night. But if he has to do any work or doesn't find the pegs, I think he'd be in awful trouble.
I'm going straight back to you with this last question, Andy, because if you were disappointed with Lochinvar, I want to know your opinion on Cruz Bromac. The last of our burning questions is with thanks to Falvo Fruits. Apples, watermelons, not sure. Well, we'll get to what they do. Specialists in table grapes, actually. Sorry, Glenn. Since the 1960s, Michael and Josie Falvo are keeping the tradition going. God bless their cotton socks. And everyone loves their grapes. Keep an eye out for Falvo Fruits. You know you'll love them. Was the Cruz we saw fresh up enough to win our wallets? Is he just a stone cold moral? Well, you've proven yourself quite a brutal assessor so far today, Andrew. What did you think of Cruz Bromac first up?
I'll keep going with the brutal attacks. Got a free middle half at Bendigo and wasn't able to win. So you can't get any softer than that. Again, he's a great horse, another horse coming back from a long time off. But these horses have got to come back and race quality horses. And I think about 3 or 4 horses would have the same run that he had at Bendigo and would have easily won that race. So, I think he's up against it from barrier 7. Your favourite horses had a stable change, I see. So it might roll to the top and be hard to beat in major role. So it might be the one to win.
Major Role and I broke up in acrimonious circumstances. There was cutlery thrown. I was glassed, if I remember correctly. Glenn, Cruz Bromac, you're not quite such an aggressive character, unless you've had a couple of froths and you're at Crown. You're not quite such an aggressive character. What's your assessment of Cruz Bromac?
I thought he was a little bit disappointing, but he has come back from a long time off and obviously some bad injuries. So Dean probably hasn't been able to put the work into him that we would have liked, but he's had a couple of weeks to get him a bit fitter, but I just don't like the draw. There's a few underneath him that's going to probably make him work a bit harder than he wants to. So unless it's a quick lead time and he's coming from behind, I think he'll find it hard this week, Ken.
Skeeter, I've written an article already, as a matter of fact, for Saturdays, but respect takes a long time to earn and a very short time to lose. So Cruz Bromac's a New Zealand Cup winner, sure, but they've seen him a little bit vulnerable first up from a break. He might not even get the front here.
Yeah, there's every chance he won't, Bon. He's a 10-year-old now, I think, and as we've seen time and time again, when you come back and after a long spell and race at this level, there's no easy races. So, I definitely wouldn't be diving into any sort of short price about him because we know what a great horse he is. It would be great to see him get back to his best, like when he was winning a New Zealand Cup, but we know race fitness is different to fitness at home. So, I think I'll just watch him go around this week and hopefully in a few runs we can see him back to his best.
I marked him $2 as well. Do you want $2 about Vacation Hill or $2 about Cruz Bromac?
Vacation Hill, thanks.
Sweet, no worries. Easy done. I'm getting $2.70 about one in a moment. We're going to do our best bets now. Glenn, are you ready to roll, or who's your best on the card?
Oh, I'd have to go with the first starter for Andy in the trot, Vatican Hill. That $2 would have been juicy, but I think it'll start a bit shorter than that. But I think she'll be too good.
Glenn's taking a vacation to the Vatican because he's a good Catholic boy, no doubt about it. That's fantastic to see. And he is. It's beautiful. Irish as Paddy Pigs. Right, Skeeter, who's your best on the card?
Yeah, well, sorry to be boring, but the one that I did like, you marked $1.50, so I won't be going near that because we know what happens when we tip ones that are too short on this show. We get in trouble. So, I was going to say Vacation Hill as well.
I'm going, hi, my name is Jeff. Hi, my name is Jeff. Apparently, I'm getting 270 about it, according to Skeeter. What have you wound him into now?
Maybe closer to 2.
Marked him $1.50 and you scared the bejesus out of me, so I drifted it out to $1.70 for the market prices. But fortunately, I don't have to take any bets, but I'm having something with you at $2.70. Now, the moment has arrived. Andrew, Patrick, Gath, AP Gold. What are you doing as your best bet on the program on Ballarat Cup night?
Yeah, no, I could take the easy way out and tip one of my own and go for 3 in a row to start off the season. But a couple of other people already tipped it. So I'm going to go. I think he'd just be too good for him in the Ballarat Cup. So expensive ego for me.
So, last one on this, Andy. Are you saying that? Are you thinking that Lochinvar, that period of dominance is actually over?
No, there's no doubt he can bounce back. He hasn't had a lot of race starts, but I can't see it happening in the next month or two.
Oh, this actually builds the anticipation, doesn't it? I'm even more excited, Glenn, about Ballarat Cup night, Saturday night. Well done to you, Andy. You've really brought the heat as you normally do. Go back to your previous location. There's something you look good there, but I don't know. I'm a man of routine. Well done to you. Well done to you, Skeeter.
Thanks, Bon.
And Glen Craven, outstanding performance from you. Off air, you said, I've got no bloody idea what I'm talking about, but I'll tell you what, you've held up an end terrifically well, so congratulations.
Thanks, Bon.
That's been the #1 rated show on any digital platform in this part of the world for racing. It's called Burning Questions. Hopefully, we found a winner for Ballarat Pacing Cup night on Saturday.